Makes you wanna go. Makes you wanna go. Na 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 na. Makes you wanna go.
Yeah, hey, Mikki G, how are you? How are you? How are you?
Oh, I'm blessed. It's a whole new day with a whole new set of mercy.
All right, and a whole new set of blessings and
That's
all of
right.
that wrapped
That's
into
right. That's
one
right.
thing. I thank you for coming and
You're
enjoying
welcome.
this afternoon with me. I appreciate it, and I thank everybody out there that is watching for tuning in with Gab with Goldn Bronze to see what we're gabbing about today. I want to start off by saying that we are sponsors of Golden Swan Cadre, which is a domestic 501c3 nonprofit organization that advocates against domestic violence towards women. But we also do some other things. We advocate for women's health issues, including maternity, mental, self care, and mindfulness. Golden Swan Cadre works with several domestic abuse centers in Texas where they will refer clients to us upon discharge from their facility. And these women, when they leave those centers, they leave with what they came with, which is usually the clothes on their backs. So they are then referred to us to assist them with their single family journeys as head of households, something that is totally new to them most of the time. And they'll often have empty apartments, or they may be able to get things from people, hand me downs, but they'll come to us and ask for our assistance. Usually, what we do is we will adopt one room. We would love someday to be able to furnish their entire apartments, but right now it's one room at a time. And that's what we'll do. We'll give them the option of what room would they like for us to furnish or decor, and we'll do that. Not only do we do that, we mentor them throughout 12 months, partner with them as far as peer to peer, hold their hands and walk them through this journey because most of us have also walked that same journey. We also are supportive and partner with the domestic violence centers who are calling us for needs lists, such as bras and panties or children's socks or toothpaste, hair care products, things like that. And so we then dig deep within our own pockets because we are partially funded to help those centers fulfill their needs list as well. We partner with community centers within the neighborhoods that we service and assist them with Easter baskets or Valentine's candies, Halloween candy, Christmas gifts, and Santa at breakfast. Like we'll donate food for them to serve breakfast to the communities within the area of that recreation center. So we do a lot with just a little, but we want to be able to do a lot with a lot. And we solicit your donation, anything from $1 on up. We would hope that your hearts would be more generous than $1, but we will accept that because every dollar adds up. And that will allow us to be able, women, to help other women as they set out on their single family journeys. Speaking of which, a lot of them are 30 on up. And so we talk about women in their 50s returning back to the workforce after being at home for decades. For women over 50 returning to the workforce after decades at home, the experience can be both challenging and rewarding. Several factors that influence that transition back into the workplace is age discrimination. Older women may face ageism in hiring processes. Some employers may have biases against their age, assuming older candidates are less adaptable or more technologically not savvy as younger women. And that can create a challenge, a tremendous challenge for women that have been at home for years and years as caregivers, now finding themselves having to provide for themselves. What do you think about that, Mikki?
Oh, it resonates with me. It really
Mhm.
does. And I think people over 50, and to me, 50 is not old, but people over 50 aren't valued for their experience, and they're thought to not know anything and can't catch on to anything, but that's not really true. Just give women over 50 a chance. Teach them. Don't just assume that they know things because they've been out of the workforce a while. And there's nothing wrong with that. People make different life choices, but being discriminated against for your age is, in my opinion, wrong.
It is wrong. I agree. That's why we're having this conversation
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it resonates with me because I too was a homemaker for 20 years and
Mhm.
left the workforce several years ago, over 20 years ago, and now back in the workforce. So I'll address the skill gaps. So, depending on their prior work experience, women may need to update their skills, especially in technology and industry specific knowledge, as the workplace has evolved significantly over the years. So,
Absolutely.
all the computer technology, all the new changes that have happened, if you haven't had to stay up to date with those things, you might not be sharp in those things. And sometimes it requires us to go back to school, go back to technical school, get job retraining, etc. But it's not insurmountable because it can be done and done well, because I think that women over 50 take this opportunity more, take it seriously than probably someone who could just get a job, lose a job, get a job, lose a job. And so, especially if we end up having to support ourselves, we're going to take that very seriously and we're willing to learn and be trained. If
And not
people,
only that, if they are not able to afford going back to school, there's online programs that they can use. There's YouTube University. You can learn anything you want to learn. There's Google. You can take a Google Workspace courses right online and learn those skill sets. Learn how to use Access. Learn how to use Excel. Learn how to use Google Workspace. And we'll get into all of that in just a moment when we return. Thank you for returning. So, as I was saying, the issue with a lot of women that have been at home that find themselves now having to go back to work may not have the finances to go increase their expand their education. So there are a lot of online programs. Since I've already mentioned them, I won't elaborate on that again, but there are a lot of online programs that they can do. And they also need to gain that confidence and self-doubt. Being out of the workforce for a long time can impact one's confidence. Women may worry about whether they can compete with the younger candidates, or their skills may be, may be judged on how their skills may be perceived. And so that piggybacks on what I just said about finding online programs that are conducive to whatever it is skill set they're trying to learn. And it piggybacks on what you just said about going back to school and learning how to do something different.
right? And when you speak about confidence and self-doubt, when you're entering a workspace of a lot of people who are younger, think a little quicker, and you wonder, will they have patience with you? Because you really want to learn it, you really want to do it. And then the confidence issue about being mocked, like, oh,
Right,
okay, that old lady again,
right.
those kinds of things can tap into and mess with your self-confidence and make you doubt yourself, like, can I even do this? I'm
So
older.
true.
I don't think as quickly as I once did. Can I do this? And so that does tap into that confidence thing.
Yep. And oftentimes you're given to a younger manager who may not have the patience and snap at you or respond in a negative way because they don't have the patience to manage an older person.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Or value,
Right.
not value for your experience. So, in addition to that, in the sandwich generation, let's say there's a work-life balance. So,
Mhm.
although their children might be older, family responsibilities like caregiving for elderly parents can complicate the balance between personal and professional lives.
Yes, and they
That,
make a lot of allowances for women at home with children, but they don't make allowances for older women at home with parents that they have to care for.
Right, right. And so they assume because you're empty nester, then you can just do whatever. But that
Right.
isn't necessarily true because our parents are aging and sometimes they have health issues. Sometimes they're aging in the home.
That's
And
right.
so you have to be there and be available, be flexible for whatever might be going on with them. Fortunately, in the workspaces that we have now, there is a lot of remote work that can help take care of those blind spots in employment, or even you might have children who are in high school. You know, even if you're over 50, you might still have children in high school and then have an aging parent. So how do
Right.
you balance those things in the workplace and the compassion of the workplace? I understand you have to be productive, and so they can't just bend to everything that's going on in your life. But we want you to be aware that those things are barriers to employment for women over 50 at times.
And I think a lot of why it hasn't become an issue in the employment space is because 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people were retiring at
Right.
50, 55, and 60. And there was no one in the workplace to advocate for people to be able to be older and have time off for care for the parent. Like they'll give you 6 weeks or whatever longer to take care of your child. But there was no one there to advocate for older people. But times have changed now where people are working longer. And these issues, I think, might be coming more to light with employers focusing on the needs of uh, older employees, just like they do for younger employees. Yep. So, yeah, work life balance is important. And networking is also very much important. Many women may have lost touch with professional networks, which are often crucial for finding job opportunities. Reestablishing their connections can be daunting. And again, that plays into we have older parents at home. So we find ourselves, some of us, spending time caring for the parent instead of getting out and networking with friends and friends of friends. So sometimes it's not just our friend network that we can reach out to. It is meeting friends of friends who might have connections in a larger network than we might have. So, yeah, we do have to find that time to get out and meet people and talk about our needs, our personal needs, and the need for maybe a part time job or something like that to supplement our income over 50.
Right. Well, talking about networking, there are job fairs, there are meet and greets.
Mhm.
Sometimes there are online groups that you can become part of that sometimes meet in person that you can become part of. There are employment type social networking group or networking groups such as LinkedIn that you can become a part of. But it is important that socially and employment wise that you're able to get out and network with other people. Sometimes, have you heard the saying, it's not what you know, but
It's
it's
who
who
you
you
know.
know.
Mhm.
And so
Or who they know, even. Yeah.
right, right. And it can get you in front of people that you wouldn't have ordinarily run across once you get outside the four walls of your home. But you do have to be flexible because of that work-life
Yes.
balance we were talking about. And so there are new perspectives. Many women return to work with a wealth of life experience, emotional intelligence, and resilience, which can be assets in management, mentoring, and leadership roles. I find that to be very true. You know, we have lived lives and we've gone through different things, hurdles that we've overcome, and we have certain strategies that have gotten us through life, certain strategies that we've maybe done in the home as a homemaker or caregiver that will translate into the public job space.
Mhm.
So there are new perspectives that we can bring that the people who are already there, maybe younger workers, may not already have.
And that feeds off of the confidence and self-doubt
Right.
that we talked about when we may, feel like we don't have as much to offer because we haven't been in the workforce, but we're not considering what you just mentioned. We're not considering the wealth of life experience that we may be able to offer the emotional intelligence and resilience, which makes us more of an asset to be in management than a younger person over us. We have that life experience to bring. So a lot of jobs do consider, I think nowadays, your life experience as far as qualifications for a job. Those are just as important. And we'll finish this conversation when we come back in just a moment. All right, and we have returned. So I was just making a point that um, our life experience does contribute to that work-life balance and uh, new perspectives.
Right, right.
Yeah,
There's something else I wanted to say about that when we were talking about skills in the home translating to
Nikki,
skills on the,
one moment,
yes.
one moment.
You know how the skills in the home can translate to skills in the workplace. For example, if you have to chart medicine and you have to organize someone's doctor's appointments, or if you have to buy groceries and you have to budget, a lot of those things can translate into the traditional workforce because you bring those skills along with you that are not necessarily trained in college, but it's practical life skills that you learn that can be used in the workforce.
Exactly, and that makes you feel like you have more purpose and fulfillment. Re-entering the workforce can bring a sense of accomplishment, purpose, and financial independence, especially for those who have been focused on caregiving. Now you have an income, and you feel more fulfilled and more purposeful in life sometimes when you have your own money
Yeah.
or something to contribute if you do have a spouse. But if you are without a spouse, it gives you more of a self-fulfillment kind of feeling. What do you think about that?
It does. It does bring about a sense of accomplishment when you're able to make your own money and buy the things you want, the things you dreamed about you could have, and it brings about an independence that, and it also makes you feel proud that you can make your own money and what you bring to the table. Now, you were bringing plenty to the table when you were at home working. I don't want to discount that because I know what it was like for me. And, I wasn't sitting around eating bonbons. However, when you're able to contribute to your life and have flexibility with your income, that is very rewarding. And it builds on your self-confidence, and it also makes you proud of yourself.
Yes.
If you can conquer this, then there's not much you can't do. you know
Yes, and just like you wanted to give homage to women that are stay-at-home moms, or I need to say for those that are stay-at-home moms, great job. We appreciate you, but also there are some of us that did that too and worked. So it is self-fulfilling when you're able to accomplish both.
right.
Um, at the same time. And so I don't want any other women out there to think that we don't think because you are a working mom, we don't want to negate that. You do the
No,
same thing. You just go
no,
out there and work too. So I don't want anybody to feel like we're giving more credit to stay-at-home moms than
right,
those that actually have to go out and do work
right,
as well.
right. And of course, I did both of them. There was
Mhm.
just a period of time because there was a time I was a divorced single mom raising four children and being in the workforce. So I've experienced both of them. So I'm glad you made that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so career flexibility. And that's something that we have a lot of now. So some women find new career paths or turn their hobbies or volunteer work into paid positions, often discovering new talents and passions later on in life. You know, I think that one of the things the pandemic caused us to be very creative to make our money because people couldn't be out amongst people working. And sometimes people found careers online, let's say, for example, YouTube or podcasting,
Yes.
different things like that, or making things and sending them out by mail order. And so we've become very creative on making our money these days. And to, you know, whatever hobby we had, it can translate into money, cold hard cash.
Exactly. And it's just as much work. It's just as much work and dedication as going to a 9 to 5 or, a hospital or wherever you may work. Having that career flexibility, being an entrepreneur takes every much as bit effort, but it also allows for that flexible work option as well. As we talked about, you mentioned you tapped into it earlier, people working at home virtually. Many companies now offer those flexible work environments, including remote work, part-time opportunities, which can make transitioning into working after 50 much easier. You're just doing it at home, but you're working just as hard. You just have that flexibility at home.
Yeah. And with the hobbies, you're likely doing what you love to do. And
Girl,
so
I
that's
wish they had
rewarding.
done that 20 years, 30 years
Me
ago.
too. Me too. Me too. So the things that you enjoy, you can make money doing the things you have fun doing.
Yeah,
That is a win, 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 win situation.
all the way. So, we have a few minutes. Let's elaborate on some of those things before we go to the, you know, next topic that we discussed about. But I think, like, let's just give some people some ideals, some women over 50 ideals of things they can do. They can do, you mentioned podcasting, they can do cooking YouTubes. We've shared some of those. They can do vlogging, like traveling blogs. They can actually travel and make that a job, blog about the different places that they have gone. If they like knitting, I think I heard you say that. I don't know, maybe you didn't, but they can do uh, virtual classes on how to knit sweaters, or just think outside the box. And of course that requires gaining a following, but you have to be innovative and creative on even how to do that. But it's plausible if you just put your thinking cap on, ladies. You don't have to go outside of home to make a living. You can do that. You can do remote data entry. There's things, other jobs that you can find on Indeed and career, what is it called? Career Builder, that are online at home, remote opportunity. You can do surveying, shopping. If you like to shop, you can, there's jobs where they'll pay you to go try food and go try clothes and go to this store, that store, come back and just do a survey. You get paid per survey. There are a lot of opportunities for women over 50 to find employment at home.
Yes. You said shopping, you hit my niche.
Mhm.
Secret shopping,
Yes.
oh, give it to me.
Mhm.
You can make money doing something that you really love. And of course, I'll elaborate a little bit as soon as we come back.
All right. You right back. So we have returned. So yes, Mikki, what do you think about some of those ideas for working at home?
Well, as I was saying, secret shopping, that's my thing. If I could,
Mhm.
I also thought about when I was thinking about secret shopping, people who are personal assistants to other people
Yes.
who don't have time to do certain things, go out do their shopping, get their dry cleaning, pick the kids up, whatever it is. You can do something like that because you have flexible time to help someone else and give
Right.
them your service, such as virtual assistant
Yep.
businesses and things like that.
Which I have a business
Right.
doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I brought that up. And, people who have hobbies of sewing, they can do tailoring for people, or you can go into mentorship. If you like young people and you want to help them, start a group, start a business where you teach maybe etiquette or teach young women how to do certain things, cooking classes. If you know how to cook well, you might want to mentor some people on doing that. I know there's a YouTube channel that I've shared with you, and the lady was saying, I'm not going to shame you young ladies if you don't know how to cook. I'm going to teach you how to cook. And I
Mhm.
thought that was such a gentle, caring approach to that, because I have said, why don't you know how to cook and feed yourself? What is that all about? You're bragging about I can't boil water. But I appreciate the compassion that she brought to it. And she has a large following of people
Yeah,
on YouTube. I think she said 50,000 followers at this
yeah,
point. So she's taking what she knows how to do and translate it into helping people, which is garnering her probably income at this point.
right.
And she's a woman over 50.
Mhm.
It's pretty safe to say she's a woman over 50. But that's some of the things you can do. Take your hobby and help someone else.
You can do tutoring, math. I remember I had one daughter that just couldn't figure it out. And I used to try to help her with tutoring. And I like, I don't know why you don't understand this. I'm not a teacher.
Yeah.
So I would hire, she had a tutor from middle school, which is in some states called junior high, all the way through college to help her with statistics and algebra. And so that's a field that people can do at home, tutor. Uh, Mobile notary. I have a mobile notary business. You can do that. You can work that around you. You can do that when you want to do it. You accept the assignments based on your availability. Um, if you like gardening, there's people that don't like to do their gardens. I that's actually something that I want to learn, not with flowers, but with vegetables and things like that. But you can hire people to come and clean out your flower bed, mow. I don't see too many women doing lawn mowing as a profession, but when I drive around my neighborhood, I see a lot of women mowing their lawn themselves. They may have husbands too, but we do mow lawns and stuff like that. So yeah, thinking out the box, that's the key to
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Like house sitters and
Yeah.
dog
Dog
sitters and
walkers, yes.
dog walkers. And if someone wants to go out of town, maybe you will house their dog. You can be a pet
Yes.
sitter. All kinds of things. There's a plethora of things if you think about it. There's a lot of things that we can do that contribute to society, and it's a win-win. It helps the person, it fills a need for
Yes.
them and for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So there are diversity initiatives. Some organizations are increasingly aware of the benefit of age and gender diversity and actively seek out experienced women who could bring balance and insight to their teams. And that brings to mind, like I was saying, mentorship. Your life experience, you bring it to an agency, and you might even be able to mentor the employees that are there. And let's say a woman used to be an accountant and she's not doing it, she's retired, but she can train people how to do accounting, or she can
Mhm.
train people in nursing or taking care of babies. I have a friend who is a newborn nanny. So when the mother comes home from the hospital, she's there with her to help take care of the baby
That's
as she's
wonderful.
going through postpartum. And so there's so many diverse ways that a woman's experience can translate into helping other people.
I like that nannies thing. What is it called? Newborn nanny?
I,
Because a lot of times, if it's your firstborn, you really need that mentorship, someone there with you to teach you how to care for an infant if you've never cared for an infant before. So that's a spectacular
oh yeah,
idea. You
she
know?
loves it. She loves it, and
Yeah.
she's in the home with them, so she goes to their home and she stays overnight and helps them, with lactation, or if the baby's cranky, how to get the baby calm and soothed and things like that. That she brings to the table. She's a mom and she's a grandmother, but somehow she's learned these skills that translate into helping other people. Because when you come home with a baby, you're stressed out, your hormones are all over the place, especially with a first baby, you don't know what to do. And so I think that feels quite a niche in that area.
Yep. So, all of that reskilling that we talked about, taking courses in technology or new fields that can help bridge those gaps, those are important things that sometimes women over 50 need to do. We mentioned that earlier, reskilling. So you can look into junior colleges, less expensive ways. I'm sure over 50, you don't want to get a student loan
No.
and strike out in debt again. You might want to network, as we mentioned. Maybe your friend circle might be small, but rebuilding professional connections through LinkedIn, industry groups, meetup groups, church groups, or return to work programs can lead to opportunities. And when you do meet new people, don't be afraid to ask if they know of any places where you might can find work. And sometimes part-time leads into full-time. So transition yourself back into the workforce part-time. And if you are a good worker, more than likely they will make you a full-time employee within a reasonable time frame. Sometimes you can do volunteering and internships. Sometimes internships start off unpaid, but they turn into paid internships, especially if you're good at whatever it is that um, you're learning to do. And gaining experience through internships is very valuable. You can do volunteer work. You can help by doing volunteer work, learning to new that will help you learn new skills. Excuse me, um, and refresh your skills. And oftentimes that builds your resume when they see that you were a volunteer. And I will finish up with this in just a few minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. And so, as I was saying, when you do the volunteering, it refreshes skills and it builds your resume. Believe it or not, they look at what community service you do when you try to go back to school or get a job. They want to see if you're about helping other people, what your interest is. A lot of companies have days where they want you to go out and volunteer. And confidence building, seeking out support groups or career coaching can help boost confidence and self presentation during job interviews. A lot of people say that they have the skill set, but they suck at interviewing. So sometimes just having someone to help you practice interviewing, or even as I mentioned, getting a coach to help you get through the interview process will land you a good job. Mikki, do you have anything to say about any of those points that I just made?
Yes, I do. For me, I went through an agency to help me build a resume and remember and learn how to interview in this current climate of employment. And it was very helpful to understand and learn certain nuances
Mhm.
that didn't even resonate years ago. When I entered the workforce, we had those paper applications.
Right,
It was a whole different ball game. And so having that career training, how to get a career, how to get that job, and how to interview. That is a big thing. Learning how to interview. So that was very helpful to me. Also, I think when you do temporary positions, you go to a temp agency, they send
mhm,
you to places, and then you can try different things and see what fits for your life and what you're good at. Try something new, something out of the box. Just sit
right,
and be creative. I'm sure you'll come up with something that's very different than what you've been doing. That might be more interesting and that you can be productive in doing that.
right.
Um, Also, if you look at your natural skills, your natural abilities, what you bring to the table, I thought about what did God send me here with? And so it wasn't anything I learned in a book. It wasn't any experiences I had. It was just me. So what part of me can I offer to a company or to a job? And so that looking inside yourself sometimes helps you find things that you didn't think that you would be doing. I
Right,
never thought I'd be doing this. And so there's room for you in just every area of employment. Also, resume building. Make sure you have a good, solid resume. Have a qualified person help you to build a good resume. And even they were telling me at the job training place, change your change your voicemail and your email address. Make sure it's professional instead of having certain songs playing on your voicemail when an employer calls. They're hearing, well, I won't name any songs, but they're
right.
they're hearing certain songs that's not really professional, or you have your children yelling in the background, or your grandchildren yelling in the background on your voicemail. Clean all of that up and make sure polish your appearance when you go out into the workforce. See what the current trends are as far as going to interview. They told us to not wear this blue and all this colorful nail polish. Make it a little bit more tempered when you go into interview. So learn those skills. There are places out there that will teach you the skills to go back in the workforce, interview, resume, etc., and how to present yourself.
Right. And try to present yourself more conservatively, I think is important. You know, you might be eclectic, but if you're trying to enter or re-enter the workforce, tone it down a little bit
Right.
to be a little bit more conservative in society. Unless you, of course, are working at home for yourself, then it doesn't matter.
Yes.
But if you're in corporate America or a restaurant or something like that, we pretty much have to play by their rules, whatever their rules are. We have to play by their rules. So all of this, you know, is very interesting, and I thought it would be a good topic because, believe it or not, older women experience domestic violence at home and find themselves after 20, 30 years of marriage, and I've seen it happen many times, divorced or widowed, widower. Which one is it? Widower, right? A widow.
Widowed, if
Widowed.
you're a woman.
Right.
Yes.
Widow.
Yes.
And now they've been at home, or they were not the primary income provider, and now they're left with, you know, a household to run. So I thought, well, this is a perfect topic for our platform, because we do see women over 50 starting off all over again. Some of us have done it. And so overall, while that journey back to work can be difficult, many women find it a time of reinvention and growth and discovering new strengths and opportunities. And I am going to speak on that before you get a chance to, because I know you're over there just buzzing to do it. But that's exactly what I did, because I used to always ask God, what is my purpose? I mean, I'm working like you know, I don't know what I was working like,
Yeah.
but I had more than one job for many years. And I did that out of necessity, but I still felt a void, you know? And I'm like, they say that God puts everybody on this earth. We all have a purpose.
Right.
What is my purpose? Well, let me tell you, when 2020 hit and COVID hit, I got COVID 3 times back to back to back. The
Wow.
first 2 were really bad. And the first one, I didn't know, I didn't think I was going to make it. And the second one was not as bad as the first one. And the third one was easier than the second. And the last 2 were easier because I was on Paxlovid, which is a medication they didn't have at first. But when I made it through, I was like, God, tell me what my purpose is. I don't want to leave this earth without fulfilling what my purpose is. And he told me to start Goldn Swan Cadre. You know, this journey that you've been on has been rough. You've worked 2 and 3 jobs, but you had to go on that journey so I could have you go on this journey. Now I want you to pull back and what they call it, pull back and pay it forward. Okay.
Yes.
So what you have learned through your journey of life, you can now share with others and make that path a little easier for them to do. And so I would say that I never thought that journey that I went on would lead me to where I am today. But I enjoy what I'm doing. It is personal growth for me right now. And that personal growth for me has built strength within me and opened up all these new opportunities that 5 years ago I didn't see coming. And that is what I'm doing right now on the DuPont TV network, talking about advocacy against domestic violence, talking about women's health issues, maternity health issues, nutrition, self-care, and mindfulness. The journey that I went on for all these years brought me to new beginnings where I am right now. And I'll let you expound on that because you got a little bit to say about it too, I'm
Oh,
sure.
I do have a little bit to say about it, but I'll be concise. Many years ago, I was a preschool teacher or an elementary education teacher in a private setting, and I had small children, but I learned the skill of communicating and getting people from point A to point B. These children came as blank slates. And so my passion became getting people from point A to point B, whether it be through mentorship. I had a support group for 10 years where I helped encourage women to get to where they wanted to be, to build a sisterhood. And there was also a support group for women who have lost their mothers, and so my passion is helping people get from one point to another because I too am a domestic violence survivor and who has been a homemaker, and I'm starting over. And so I'm getting myself from point A to point B. So that is a purpose and a passion. And I'm so glad to be here to be able to do this. And
That's exactly why I asked you to be a part of Golden Swan Cadre, because that's what we're about, getting people from point A to point B and trying to help them do it seamlessly.
right.
Like our journeys might have been a little more difficult, but we want to make theirs just a little easier. And so we will wrap this up with women over 50 entering the workforce. Yes, there's a possibility for you to have a fulfilling life doing so. And I'm going to let my co-host say a few things and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. I'm so glad that we discussed this topic, and we hope that this helps someone in our audience reimagine your life over 50. Don't count yourself out, and don't count out women over 50. So, with that said, you may now see Gab with Goldn Bronze, the talk show, on DuPont TV Network, brought to you by Village Global Network TV, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Be sure to tune in, and we'll happily see you there. So, as Goldn Bronze mentioned at the beginning of our show, Goldn Bronze, Gap for Goldn Bronze gives money to Golden Swan Cadre. Sorry, had a brain
We
stop there.
sponsor, we
We
sponsor.
sponsor Golden Swan Cadre.
Yes.
And so I'm going to tell you ways to be able to contribute to this worthy cause. So if you're going on Chime, enter $ Golden Swan Cadre. On PayPal, go thegoldenswancadre@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, www.goldenswancadre.com. We encourage you to look through the website to see what we're doing. Also, Instagram, visit the charity section to find the official _Golden Swan Cadre. Facebook, the same thing. Visit the charity section and find Golden Swan Cadre. Please join us in making a positive impact today for this worthy cause and these worthy women.
Thank you, Mikki G. And I want to close it out by saying to people watching, not only can you help us by donating to Golden Swan Cadre, if you would like to volunteer with Golden Swan Cadre, we could start something in your city, your state, wherever you're at. Just go on our social media pages or our website and inquire, and somebody will get back to you. So I want to thank you for coming today to watch Gab with Goldn Bronze to see what we're gabbing about. And I welcome you to come back tomorrow. Until then, be blessed. Goodbye.
Bye.